think of investing in Africa, think of Tony Elumelu. Is one of Africa's best success stories as a Nigerian business magnate who has invested so much on the future of young Africans and Cameroonians in particular. He has been doing businesses and serves as one of the benchmarks which many African countries can follow. So the Yaounde International Conference on Investing in Cameroon invited people like them as proposed by the government. So what have they been doing, and what can Africans in particular learn from people like Tony Elumelu to make businesses sustainable, create jobs, and reduce poverty? My guests are two. Emeke Iweriebor, welcome to Globewatch.
Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you.
I'm sure I pronounced your name correctly.
Petit à petit.
Just quickly paint to me a picture of what you are doing currently in Africa to support young people in particular, especially in the domain of entrepreneur, which is the word used most by African leaders today.
Thank you so much. To start with, I think it's necessary for our viewers to have a sense of our bank. Our bank, United Bank for Africa, is present in 19 African countries, in East Africa, in West Africa, in Southern Africa, and importantly, in Central Africa, where Cameroon belongs to. We have been in operations for close to 70 years, and as a bank, our key focus, our results, our overriding philosophy is to impact our society in any country in which we do business. So no matter the age category, children, youths, adults, and the aged, we have products, we have services, we have solutions for them.
I think solutions are more interesting at a period where governments across the world, and that of Cameroon in particular, is looking at solutions, and that is why you are in Yaounde, to solve the unemployment equation and to reduce poverty. What are you providing as a solution?
In Cameroon, we have been doing business here since 2008, and like I said, from day one, we were very clear on what we wanted to do. We wanted to invest in the economy and the people of the country. And how has it manifested? We are present in many parts of the country. We have opened agencies in many parts of the country. I've employed hundreds of Cameroonians to work in different roles. We have given them capacity. We have built people, we have built individuals who are responsible for roles, responsibilities, functions across Africa. And these are youths. We have trained them, we have capacitized them, we have resourced them, and we have empowered them, and we have let them go. Now, the positive impact is not only in our bank, but also in the larger economy. We do this because we realize that for us to function successfully in any economy, we have to build the people, and that has been our mandate.
And how have you succeeded in ensuring corporate responsibility to be people-friendly?
Now, corporate social responsibility basically is how companies give back to the society. Companies are appreciative of the environment in which they have operated, and they look for ways in which they give back. We see it slightly differently because we feel that if we operate in an environment, it's not, giving back should not be tokenistic. It should not be one-off. It should be something we do day by day, systematically and daily. So when we pick interns, for instance, we have a program for interns across Cameroon. We pick people straight from universities and colleges without any form of previous employment, without any form of training. We bring them into the bank, we give them education, we give them training, we build their skills, we employ them, and others who are interested go on to other schools, other institutions to develop themselves. When they do that, they are empowered to also build businesses. We have people who have left, who we have trained, who have gone on to build businesses. We have provided financing support to a great category of customers across different sectors, both in the large grand enterprise, PMEs, and even individuals. We have provided financing support, credit and financing support to these sectors, to these categories of customers that we have.
Most Cameroonian youths today, and especially those in Africa, are more involved in digital economy. And that is a sing-song for most African governments, that this is the new gateway to the employment opportunities. What kind of assistance do you provide to people like Alentef, to people like Tofil Abega Musa, to people like Achu, who created the cardio part? Do you provide direct financial assistance? Because when I talk to most Cameroonian youth, they say the banking system is for the rich and not for us, the poor.
You know, Cameroon is a blessed country.
You know the principle of collateral security in banking?
I'm coming.
Okay.
Cameroon is a blessed, uniquely blessed and placed country. I tell you this because I've been opportune to visit many African countries, and I can tell you that most do not have the material resources and the human resources that Cameroon has. Cameroon has a very clement weather for agriculture. Cameroon has very educated people. Cameroon is the country, one country that is in Central Africa, it's in West Africa, it's in East Africa. You don't have many countries like that. It's not an era that is called a nexus country. Now, coming to the issues you raised, do you know that Cameroon has the fastest growth of entrepreneurs in Africa? Cameroon has that record. The fastest growing population of entrepreneurs registered anywhere in Africa. You
know, when you say that, most of my viewers will say that sounds like a creation.
No, but it is true. These are facts. The hub, the digital hub which you have coming up in Boya, is recognized in different parts of Africa. I think one thing we need to do as Africans is that we need to tell our story. We need to tell our stories very, very frontally and confidently. We don't do that sufficiently in Cameroon. We don't do that sufficiently in many African countries, but we have to do that. You see, because if we don't do that, we will miss progress. Our people will not appreciate what is being done. I lived here between 2008 and 2011. The Cameroon that exists today is not the same country that I lived. At that time, the economic growth rate was 1.4, 1.5, less than 2%. Today is 5.3, 5.5 in 2015. It is projected, in spite of the difficulties, that it may be at 5.3 in 2016. What does that tell you? Ask yourself, what is the growth rate of the EU and the American economies? It's a struggle for them to get to 1%, 2%. So things are happening. I just want us as Africans, as Cameroonians, to recognize the good things that are happening in our country, so that we do not join others who sing negative songs about us all the time. So there are good things happening here. Now, how is the banking sector helping our young entrepreneurs? You know, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. The starting point is that if you have an idea, for that idea to be translated into a business, it means that your idea must be bankable. You must put a form and structure around it. Then you present the case. Because the bank is an enterprise. Its purpose is to midwife businesses so that the depositors who put their money in banks can get it anytime they come. So it's not just about collateral, it's the viability of the business that also counts. So I want to encourage entrepreneurs, visionaries, those who have ideas. Please, your vision is wonderful. Put it on paper in a structured manner and then present it. You will find somebody who will have a listening ear. And if you do, the world is open to you. And interestingly, you talked about digitalization of the economy. This is global. Today, those Cameroonians, young Cameroonians in Boya, in Douala, in Yaounde, in Ngaoundere, in Bafoussam, in Bamenda, they can produce any products, and then right there, they can transmit it and put it in the international marketplace. They don't need to live where they are.
What kind of dialogue or partnership do you really need with the government, those of the private sector? Because one of the topics which has been under discussion is public-private partnership. You guys of the private sector, what kind of relationship do you want with the government that will make things move faster? Because I live in Cameroon and I know the realities of the country to an extent. It is debatable, but bureaucracy is a major challenge to development, and bureaucracy is mostly at the government level, where you have to process all your documents before it reaches you.
Public-private sector partnership begins with the realization that the government cannot do everything, and that is fact. Now, but government has its role. Its role is to provide infrastructure, to provide an enabling environment for investors. Now, the private sector, as responsible citizen companies, entities, also have a responsibility. They have a role to play because the government cannot do everything. So in selected areas, the government, and there are many financing structures in international finance to enable government achieve its goals. So let's
select a sector to be more precise.
Okay, let's take one. Let's take
agriculture.
One. Let's take agriculture.
Yeah.
For instance, now you have.
I want to own a maize farm today, and I want you to finance it for me. Let's work from that basis.
Okay, I would ask you yourself. In that case, I'll ask you, where do you want to set up this farm? What kind of maize products? What kind of maize species? Have you determined the exact location that is most suitable, most fertile for the species you want to produce? Have you thought of who will buy this maize from you? Have you gone to discuss with them? Do you know what their demand is? You'll be surprised that if you enter into dialogue with these companies, that product which you have will be bought even before it is ready. Because entities, companies, they need your products, but they won't know if you don't package yourself, if you don't organize your company, you don't organize your product and sell it, market to them, enter viable contracts that will protect you as an investor, you the farmer, you the plantation owner, and the company itself.
There is a new concept in African economic environment, which my first guest on this program has raised, which is Africa capitalism. How is it welcomed in your business environment, banking, e-commerce, economy? It is a philosophy. How do you interpret that to an ordinary person?
I can make it simple. This is a philosophy propounded by Mr. Tony Elumelu, Chairman, Hess Holdings. In summary, what it says is that Africans have a responsibility to develop Africa, and that the private sector has a leading role to play in this initiative.
Thank you very much indeed for being guest on Globewatch.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Nigerian business magnate Tony Elumelu, welcome to Globewatch.
Thank you, Charles.
I just want to know from you, the general public picture of the media is that Africa is poverty, is disease, is Ebola, and whatsoever, Boko Haram. Why are you so successful in business and many of us unable to do that?
No, I don't think that others are not able to become successful or even more successful than some of us. The issue is that we need to create the right environment. We need to create the right opportunities that will enable our people exploit their immense talents and innate resources. The issue has been that for centuries or decades, we have not paid so much attention to those who truly hold the future of Africa. The issue is that our young Africans who should actually be leading the development of our continent have not had enough access to economic opportunities.
You know, the general Nigerian picture is that businesses, especially during your time, was not the best in the 70s and 80s when you started all of these. Just tell me how you started to become a global business star. What were the challenges and how did you overcome them, and how would they be beneficial to the ordinary young entrepreneur today?
I want to start on the last question. I think through my foundation, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, I committed the sum of $100 million to empowering young Africans. I want to give them the kind of opportunity I got. I want to help them realize their aspirations. I want them to know that their ideas can truly transform Africa. And I want them to know that today we have a new Africa where Africans can actually provide economic hope and support.
That is a good story, but you see, most of them would like to know how you started and how did you overcome such challenges, because the environment you are living, probably they are facing the same environment, looking for finances to do their business and whatsoever. So how did you start from a simple idea to become so rich to provide $100 million for them to benefit?
Again, I must tell you that the fact that I provided $100 million does not mean I'm the wealthiest or richest African or person in the world. But it's just a question of legacy and impact, a question of trying to share what I have with our people, realizing that poverty anywhere is a threat to all of us everywhere, and realizing that we are not judged or defined by how much we have in our bank accounts. Rather, it is how we're able to create impact and help others. I got a helping hand, so to speak, and everyone, I believe, who has great ideas on the continent of Africa, especially our young ones, need most of us who are successful to help them, give them economic hope and an opportunity. Growing up, I would say in business, there are certain values which we teach the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs. We call it the TOE ways. Certain values have helped me in my business success. And one of these values is discipline. And 2 is working very hard. You must work hard. 3 is being bold, audacious, think, and realize that when you think, you need to work hard to make it happen. And when you work hard, you need to be disciplined. You need to make sacrifices. And you need to have integrity and resilience in business. Our business people need to think long term.
Out of the box.
No. Out of the box, yes, but more importantly, thinking long term, not short term thinking and orientation.
And that is why you are investing so much in young people. Last year, your organizational statistics indicate that you provided assistance to 330 young entrepreneurs. 19 of them were from Cameroon and 167 from Kenya. What is the feedback do you get from those who benefit from your largesse?
I would say that the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, which is a flagship program of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, selects every year 1,000 Africans and not 300 something. Last year, we selected 1,000 who benefited from the $10,000 program, $5,000 seed capital, non-refundable, and the second $5,000 you refund, but that you get when your business matures. Cameroon had last year about 19, this year about 25. Kenya alone last year had about 169. So all over Africa is an Africa-wide initiative to empower the African youth, to give economic hope and opportunity to young Africans, to make them feel that they are part of the 21st century and part of this growth we talk about on the continent. Business, the environment is not easy, but it was worse than this in our own time when we started. I believe that tough times will produce great people. And if these entrepreneurs continue the way they've started, the stories I hear from them are very encouraging stories. Stories that make me become more confident about the future of Africa. I actually think that when people say Africa is on the rise, I tend to agree. I tend to agree because of the future of Africa I see in the eyes of these young men and women that will support through the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program.
You have so many businesses to manage, and you took one of Nigeria's banks, Standard Trust Bank, to the top of the Nigerian banking system. Why are you so successful in business?
I would say that I'm the chairman of S Holdings Group. S Holdings has investment in key sectors of the African economy, real estate and hospitality, hence the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, which is one of our flagship hotels. The financial services sector, that's why we have United Bank for Africa, which operates in 19 African countries, over 1,000 branches, employing over 20,000 Africans, and with over 11 million customers. We have interest in power. We're the biggest power generators in Nigeria, thermal power generators in Nigeria, and of course we have interest in oil and gas and agriculture.
I just wonder how your businesses succeed so well in Nigeria, where the power failure is rampant.
Well, we have found how to operate in an environment that has institutional rigidities or voids.
Okay.
Our ability to overcome those confer a competitive advantage, edge over you. But coming back to the point you raised about how we are succeeding, I would say that God has been wonderful to the group, and that is also why we decided that we need to help the next generation of Africans share in our successes. I was born and bred in Africa, and so I like others to feel a part of the economic fortune that we made in Africa.
Okay.
I have been blessed with great staff. Our people, the HH people, or being the bank, the UBA people, are extraordinary people.
Okay.
They go the extra length in serving our customers. They understand that the reason we exist, either as a bank or in hospitality business or in the power business, is our customers. And they put customers first. And I would say customers, just like investors, go to where they are most welcome. Okay. Go to where they are served very well.
Okay, Mr. President, we have to end. But before we separate, there is a tradition of taking the last question. And this is the last question. Aliko Dangote, your elder brother, has committed $10 million in supporting victims of Boko Haram. What is your breaking news statement tonight to support those who have been terribly affected by the conflict affecting your country, my country, and our neighboring countries?
We all intervene in our humanitarian endeavors and efforts through various approaches. All of us do have to adopt the same approach. I have told you the $100 million that I have is beneficial to Cameroonians, it's beneficial to Nigerians, it's beneficial to Chadians, it's beneficial to all across Africa. It is sector agnostic and is open to 54 African countries. And indeed, we do have participants from across Africa currently. That is one way we believe we can bring economic hope to the issue of extremism. And that's one way we think can permanently deal with some of the challenges we face today.
The founding president of the Tony Elumelu Foundation and the board chair of United Bank for Africa plus Transcorp, I'm afraid we have to end here. Thank you very much indeed for talking to Globewatch.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
You are welcome.